So today we are going to start today's session. So our research person is, as I told, Dr. Tilak Hazarika from Department of Library and Information Science, Gauhati University. So we'll be talking on academic writings, citation style, and plagiarism. His topic will be bibliometric indicators and academic excellence. So I request Dr. Hazarika sir to start his session. Thank you.
Very good morning. Good morning to all present here in the academic discourse. Let me share my files. I shall be talking on the bibliometric indicators and
there is a green button, I think, share screen.
is it visible?
Still not coming, sir. Yes.
Is it visible?
It's coming.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is visible.
Okay. Very good morning to all present here in the session. And I have prepared one presentation on bibliometric indicator and is my voice audible clearly?
Yes.
If my voice is audible clearly?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So let me start the session. So by bibliometric indicators, we refer to those indicators which are related to scholarly communications, particularly the published literature, which are primarily dominated by the microliterature. By microliterature, we refer to those literature which are nascent in its nature, that is the recent publication, and that is a refinement of the scholarly discourse in any discipline or any subject. And while satisfying these two terms, that is a nascent literature, new communication, and new addition to the scholarly discourse, definitely we refer to the journal articles, mostly journal articles. Of course, journal articles not the end. There comes to the conference proceedings. There comes to the any academic writings which is published in a scholarly channel, that is a journal or any symposia or any conference proceedings or any workshops, so on and so forth. But that has to be satisfy certain criteria that it has been stamped of approval by a scholarly community in a given discipline, and that is published in a well-known channel, maybe a conference proceeding of well-known, maybe a journal of well-known, and so on and so forth. So while we dealing with the research, we have to first go through the literature, extensive literature survey, extensive literature accumulation, and they are filtering to my relevant topic. And after that, we have to find out the most relevant papers, most relevant works that has already been compiled or that has already been completed in a discipline or in a micro area of research which I am interested in. So now the question comes, since the development of the information and communication technology is there is a cessation of, there is a stop of the print publications, and now all the publication domain has moved to electronic domain, that is the maintained by different databases and published by different websites and maintained in a very extensive manner by different aggregators, that is the journal aggregators, conference aggregators, and there are so on and so forth. So many aggregators are there which are playing a very significant role in accumulating the research publications of different disciplines and they have all of from accumulating from all over the world, and they have segregated all this in a subject wise, and different access points are given like author access, subject access, time access, and most importantly, out of the huge sea of millions of literatures are there in different databases distributed all over the world, we have to find out the most relevant works, most relevant research papers, most relevant journals that aptly fit my requirement in a given discipline or given discourse. That is the problem, and I'm trying to focus how a researcher can find out his research works, previous research works in his or her discipline, that so that he can save his time, he can save his, he can find the most relevant works, he can find his most qualitative and most widely read works, so that he may keep his track in a proper direction of his research, and he may be able to compile his research work and complete his research work, and ultimately it will help him or her to publish his research work in a good quality journal. That is the most important work. And now let me move to there are no alternative way to carry out the research work in one's relevant field or discipline to remain relevant. To remain relevant in my discipline, to remain relevant in my subject, being a teacher or being a researcher, we must have to carry out quality research work in my discipline. There is no alternative. And this is the question of relevancy. And now we are aware of that the UGC has come up with a very stringent parameters to assess the research quality, to assess the research performance of the teachers all over the country, to maintain the uniform quality of higher education and research. So this question is the most pertinent question: how we can carry out the most relevant research and publish our research work in a quality journal, so that our research works are accredited, research works are get placed in a proper place, so that I can get a proper credit to my research work. And being a teacher, carrying out the research work is not the end. We have to guide our research scholars, we have to guide our students, so that they can develop their spirit of research, they can develop their basic skills of research, so that in future we may find a bunch of good researchers in the respective discipline. That is another responsibility being a teacher in colleges and universities, whatever it might be. So these two we have to carry out parallelly, apart from our teachings. So in this context, and this is a very pertinent questions are there, how to grasp the very ground of research in a contemporary research developments, and to develop one's research portfolio, so that we can really develop our research skills, we can really develop, contribute to the we are belongs to. And also, as already I have mentioned, besides that, we have to guide our students, we have to guide our research scholars, so that a bunch of research scholars may be developed, and the skills of development can be really, we can support them, so that the subjects may develop. Primarily, the distribution of quality resources on the very important field. As I have already mentioned, the distribution is very, very disturbing, and it is quality research works. The one's relevant research works are not available in a single window platform. That in a bank like that, we are all the banks are now coming up with the single window, but there is no any single window for accessing and getting the quality research work in one's relevant field. So getting access to sufficient literature, that was the upper level of the required precision, with one of the most fundamental and guiding first that I have already just discussed. So coverage of Indian journals, particularly those who are published in relevant subjects from India, is abysmally low in the international databases, which I am referring to. That is the two most internationally acclaimed research aggregators are there, database aggregators are there. One is the Scopus, all of our well familiar, I think, and another is the Web of Science. These two are the most widely used and most comprehensive databases of the world literature, particularly in the micro literature. And I must say that Scopus is slightly slanted to science and technology, engineering and management, that is STEM. Scopus is mostly slant to STM, but Web of Science have a wider coverage. And of course, both the database have some own characteristics. We have to understand the characteristics, and so that we can avail the benefits of these two databases. And let me discuss. I have a brief discussion on these two databases. And since the Indian journals are very poorly covered by the Scopus databases as well as the Web of Science databases, the Government of India has given an assignment to the Implementation Center that is available in Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad. You are aware of that, I am sure. They have carried out an extensive scrutiny of the Indian journals, which are not covered in the leading two databases, that is Scopus and Web of Science, but they are not poor in comparison to the journals that is already been covered in the Scopus and Web of Science. The question is that they have very stringent criteria for inclusion and exclusion of journals in their databases. They have their own parameters, they have their own criteria, and most of the Indian journals are not covered in these two leading databases. That is why the UGC has come out with a separate platform, so that those who are very quality journals in different disciplines, in particularly the question comes with the vernacular language journals, that is, if we say regarding our region, we may say about the Prantik, Goryohi, all these are very acclaimed journals in the Assamese literature, but due to certain criteria, mostly the English language literature, English language journals are covered in the Scopus and Web of Science. These different journals in the different subjects are not covered. Those are maybe in English or in some other regional vernacular languages. That is why CARE, Consortium for Academic and Research Ethics, have been developed by UGC, and they have covered some other journals published from India in different disciplines. They have given a different categories: category A, category B, category C. Category A, you are aware of that, I am sure. That category A journals are those journals in the different subjects. They have grouped the journals in different subjects. Category A journals are mostly those are already covered in the Web of Science and Scopus. But category B and C are journals. Those are not covered by Scopus and Web of Science, but they are very highly high quality journals in different disciplines. And they have given a list of the, you may visit the CARE site. They have given a list of the different journals in different subjects, so that we may publish our research papers, research works in those journals as well, and we'll get the proper credit to our research works, even if we publish in the CARE journals. To remain relevant, to develop our research portfolio, to develop our research profile, we may try to publish in the high quality journals of our subjects, and some journals are there which are mediocre in quality, and these are some third category journals which are included in the CARE list. I am not referring to the third quality journals is a very poor quality journals. It is not like that. Those are as per the criteria that is being set by the Scopus and Web of Science, and there's a set criteria by the CARE protocol. Anyway, all the journals covered in the CARE as well as the Web of Science and Scopus are the high quality journals, we may say. And if we publish our research works in those journals, that our research work gets visibility, the regional visibility, national visibility, as well as the international visibility, which we can publish in the index journals. I must say that a good number of journals in the CARE, included in CARE, are not at all indexed by any indexing databases. That is another problem. Because of the non-indexing of the parameter, that there are very less possibility that our works will be visible in the world community. But there are some other ways out I shall discuss. We can publish in some other platforms are there. I shall discuss later on how we can make our works visible to the world community and get the proper credit. And there is a CARE list journals. I just want to give an example. My network connectivity is a bit poor. Let me try. This is a brief summary of the CARE list journals I have compiled in my subjects. there are around 150 journals are there published from India in our subject, that is library and information science. But hardly 14 journals are indexed in this databases. That is the scenario in library information science, and all other journals in the list are published from abroad, this from US, UK, or some other advanced countries. In here only one journal is there in the past published from India, and scrutiny is of course continuous scrutiny is going on, but there is a question of addition and deletion. That is a continuous process. This is a as of that we can say only 11 journals are covered in the list. That is a scenario, and you may check your own list of journals in your own subjects, and you may get a clear picture of the how many journals and what are the journals being covered in the Scopus, and what are the journals being covered in the Web of Science, as well as what are the journals in the category 1 and category 2.
Hazarika sir.
Sir?
Yes, actually your screen is not visible now. I
This
think,
one?
yes, docx, what you have seen.
Okay. That only out of the 100 journals published from India in library information science in our subject, only 11 journals are covered. That is the scenario, and I am sure this is the situation in other disciplines also. You may check your own disciplines. So let me come to the metrics. So why metrics are required? So out of the thousands of journals in being available in the leading databases, how we can find out the best quality research works, best quality authors, best quality journals in my own discipline, in my own subjects. So there are some matrices. I am skipping and not giving to all the theoretical parts. The bibliometrics are there. Biblio means the books and other media's commission. This is a theoretical part. And all the journals are indexed in the leading databases based on the metadata. Metadata means the index part. That is, I may index a journal, get access to a journal by its author name, by its journal name, by subject, by year of publication, or by publisher, and so on and so forth. All these are different access points that we may access to a relevant literature in the databases. We may search. That is a search key. We may say simply as a search key through which we can get access to the relevant literature in my own subjects, or any topic that is I have undertaken for my research work. That may be a micro area, that may be a very good area, or a micro area that may be different based on the research topic at hand. But we have to search the research works based on certain access points, that is metadata, either by author, by title, by subject, by some relevancy parameters are there. And most importantly, there are some metrics are there, based on which out of the hundreds of literature I have filtered out of her databases, what are the most relevant works? What are the most highly acclaimed works out of the 100 titles or 100 works I have got as a retrieval parameter, so that I can find out the most relevant works and most acclaimed work, most read works, so that I can get access to the most recent works in my research work, and that will help me to complete my research works out of grasp the very context of the research that is being carried out in the different parts of the country or different parts of the world. So we have to get access to the metadata. Growth rate of scholarly contents is almost unsurmountable. That is, we have to find out the most relevant works applying certain metrics. There is no other way out, but it is not possible to go to the hundreds and thousands of research works that has been given me when I search our databases. That is not possible. So we have to apply certain filtering mechanisms so that most relevant works I may find out of the databases. So there is problems of the development of metrics. Different metrics has been developed. It is a huge area in the area of bibliometrics and scientific metrics. I should not go to the details of the matrices, but still let me try to introduce some of the metrics which might be of very much relevant, which are the basic metrics that is required to be understood by a researcher while searching the different relevant literature, while searching a databases. Journals are again shows as a mirror of the subjects, and we have to deal with the journals because the journals carries the most recent research works and the recent interpretation, recent developments in a given subject. So our research work mostly confined on the journals. It is not that journals are the only source through which we can grasp the very idea of the recent research works in my recent subject, relevant subjects, but their books are also very much relevant to develop the theoretical perception, theoretical concepts, conference proceedings are there, but journals are the dominant form of literature of the which reflects the development of a subject. That is why, as we can say our health of a face by looking to a mirror, we can say the health of a subject, the growth of a subject by looking to the journal literature, quality of journal literature, the quantity of journal literature, and different parameters related to the journal literature in one's discourse. That is why it is said that the journals are the mirror of a subject. And quality and quantity both are very closely tied. We cannot compromise the quality by overlooking the quantity. Both the quantity and quality goes together, but once both have some impacts on each other. Once the quantity is increased, certainly there is a high probability, high possibility of developing the quality also. Again, quality is not the absolute entity through which we can guess. There are so many subjects are there which are very wide in wide community of research works are there, very wide community of the readers are there, and that is being taught in so many universities, so many schools. There are very old subjects like that of the chemistry, physics, mathematics, medical science. All different subjects are there, which have been their whole since the dawn of the civilization, and all over the world those subjects are prevalent. Again, there are certain subjects, and of course, those subjects having a very wide community of researchers, definitely the rate of growth of the literature, rate of growth of the journals is also very high. So once a journal is published in a research works is published in a journal of say chemistry, automatically you may expect that very hundreds or thousands of research scholars, hundreds of thousands of the people may get access to your research work. But there are certain subjects we have a very small community of researchers, very small community of universities or colleges that is being taught and being researched. Say, for example, those are newly developed subjects. You may say nanotechnology, bioengineering, so on and so forth. There are different subjects are there which have recently developed subjects, and they are yet to compete with those subjects which are there in since the beginning of the human civilization. So the quantity comes into this context. So since the less number of research communities there for taking research and studies in a given subject, there is a very less probability of very less number of articles, less number of journals, and less number of literature in comparison to those of the very well-established subjects. That is the context. In this context, we have to find out having some benchmark of the quality as well as the quantity. Those benchmarks are being measured by different matrices. So capturing, indexing, and distributing of documents of primary literary sources have always been drawing attention by information sources. In this context, how we can find out the most quality index literature, how we can distribute properly, how we can aggregate properly, all these are very relevant context that is being now resolved, and that is being managed by the very well managed databases, very well managed databases, as well as the very well managed distribution paradigm. So we can get access to those literature, and not only taking into context of the quantity and quality, but the relevance is the most important matter while getting access to the scholarly literature in one's discourse. So I am let me have a discussion on the one by one, the Web of Science databases and different basic parameters of the Web of Science databases, as well as the Scopus databases, by applying the certain basic metrics which we should take into consideration while searching and retrieving the relevant literature out of the different databases. So we may, I am you may visit to the Web of Knowledge. This is the web URL of the Web of Knowledge site, so which we can search the databases for relevant works by different search paradigm are there. But I am sorry, due to poor net connectivity, I shall not be able to have a demonstration of the Web of Science databases. But still, let me try to have a discussion on what are the basic features that is available in a Web of Science databases and how we can get access to the literature. And this is the Web of Science, is the one of the oldest and most largest databases in the world, mapping the comprehensive citation data for many disciplines of science, social science, and several region-specific databases. There are some. This is one of the largest and most robust databases that is being acclaimed all over the world for science, social science, and certain relevant discipline. Region-specific databases are there. Region-specific database means recently they have included the Korean Science Citation Index and Russian Science Citation Index. That is the region-specific and subject-specific. The Korean and Russian Science Citation Index are the region-specific. Others are the having the world coverage of science, social science, and humanities also. There are 256 total disciplines covered in Web of Science. So we may select our relevant disciplines by visiting the Web of Science databases. So number of records as of now is more than 90 million. So out of you may assume, you may just assess out of the 90 million literature, it is how the problem is there, what are the basic features are there to find out the relevant literature in one's discipline. That is in the microdiscipline. I am not talking about the physics, chemistry, mathematics, but a researcher in physics, researcher in chemistry, researcher in economics, definitely he is inclined to a particular micro concept, micro area of his research work, through which he will be searching his relevant literature, and that will aptly meet his requirement of interest, that will be downloaded and that will be read out. So we have to apply certain basic matrices, basic bibliometric indicators, so that we can find out that we can confine our sources, we can confine our literature review part while taking up the research work. So number of journals is a brief description of the Web of Science coverages. 21,294 journals. That is yesterday data. Books and conference more than 34,000, and there are some patents and other data sets are there in the platform. Review of books also one of the very important feature that is being included in the Web of Science databases. We may have a review of the recent published books in my own field of interest. So recently it is being maintained by the Clarivate Analytics. This is one of the well-acclaimed analytical house. They have taken over the analytical part and the indexing part of the Web of Science databases that is being marketed by Clarivate Analytics. They have developed so many metrics, they have developed so many algorithms, so that the relevant literatures may be searched, relevant literatures may be aggregated out of the Web of Science databases. These are very robust. It is so many metrics are there. I shall not be going to cover all the matrices, but it is not possible to cover here. And that is another very interesting area. And every day, new algorithms and new metrics are being developed to make the search a very robust one, make the search a very easiest one from the end user's point of view, and at the same time, so that nothing is missed, and at the same time, no irrelevant literatures are retrieved. So relevancy is a parameter, and out of the relevancy, most important works, if I find, that is the success of the relevancy, and all this taking into consideration of all these issues, the Clarivate Analytics are doing work in this regard and to develop the new matrices and as well as the new algorithm, so that the search may be easier, search may be very comprehensive, the search results may exactly meet our research interest. Lots of features are there in the search results. There are some other areas I want to cover. that while searching the databases, there are so many different options are there. One is the basic search. So in the basic search, you will get a comprehensive view of the literature that is available in the databases, but that hardly meets one's research interest. That is a comprehensive view. Hundreds and thousands of literature you will find in the basic search, but to make your research search a precise one, to go to the in-depth searching, definitely you are supposed to go for advanced search. So in the advanced search, there are so many things are there we have to look into, and the Boolean algebra is one of the very important area. We have to have a very understanding of the Boolean algebra so that we can we can combine different search terms, maybe your subject search, maybe your author search, or maybe some combination of your subject and authors, as well as the title of the journal also, so that you may find the most relevant works in your area of interest. There are basically three algorithms are there. One is the and or not. I am sure you have a basic understanding of the and or not. And means the finding the where the search terms are there, both search terms A and B are present in your search. That means subject. Suppose you are interested to search rhinos in Assam, so both rhino and Assam term must be present in the title field. If you select the title field, or you may select the abstract, or you may select the whole body of the work, that is the research works, where the source search terms are present. Say for example, it will give you A and B will give you all the relevant literature where both the term A and B are present. You may search for A or B also. That means the A or B will give you all the relevant literature. That is either term A or either term B is present. Say for example, there are some homonymous and synonymous terms are there. Say for example, you are interested to search for gender discrimination. So you may give gender plus discrimination, gender or discrimination, or gender plus discrimination. Gender or discrimination will give you all the relevant literature which are available either gender or discrimination. Or you may say for example, there are certain works, certain homonymous terms are there, women, or the term woman is referred in different way, woman, female, and then weaker sex, and so on and so forth. Wife, mother, sister, and even sometimes girlfriend, so on and so forth, different terms are there. All these terms actually mean the women. So if you want to make your search comprehensive, you may give all the terms women or female or weaker sex or so on and so forth, different terms, so that your search may become comprehensive. And you may eliminate some terms not. Sometimes you may these terms should not be there, but say for example, rhino and Assam, but not rhino in Africa. So you may exclude rhino in Africa from your search because you are interested to search, find the literature which are relevant the rhino in Assam only. So you may this way, you may refine, you may sharpen your search terms in the different databases. This way you will find the most relevant literature in your area of interest. So actually, I was interested to go for having a demo of the different search expressions, but I have skipped because of the poor network connectivity. All this will require sufficient bandwidth, but at my end, the network connectivity is not so high, so that I am skipping. So I'm sure a good number of you are very much familiar and will just relevant search terms. And of course, you may filter based on the most relevant works, based on your time, recent works, older works, so on and so forth, so that you can find out the most relevant works in your subject of interest. So I'm giving an introduction of the Scopus databases. Scopus is another very comprehensive abstracting and citation databases covering primary literature all over the world. As I have already said, that Scopus is slightly slant to science, technology, engineering, and management (STEM). In comparison to the Web of Science have a very huge coverage of humanities and social science, but it is not here in Scopus. Scopus is slightly slant to science and technology and engineering and management. That is why those belongs to science and technology, engineering and management, and the Scopus may be the first choice. Then you may move to Web of Science. But those who are from humanities and social science, the first choice should be Web of Science. Then you may move to Scopus. Of course, it is not like that. The journals covered in Scopus is not available in Web of Science. There are duplication. There are a huge number of duplications, but still, coverage of Scopus is a bit high in comparison to Web of Science. So you may see here, 20,000 journals are covered in the from around 5,000 world publications in Scopus. So coverage is very high in Scopus. That is why the probability and chances of getting your works, relevant works in Scopus is a bit high in comparison to Web of Science. Still, Web of Science is also developing its coverage at a very fast rate, and we may expect in the near future that the coverage of the Web of Science will be at par with the Scopus. This is a site, Science Direct. The brand name, the trade name is Science Direct of the Scopus. You may visit to the Science Direct. But one thing I must submit here, that still in the colleges, except few well-known colleges, the access to Web of Science and access to Science Direct is not yet available because the high rate of subscription rate is very high of Science Direct and Web of Science. That is why even the universities and the mediocre universities cannot afford to subscribe to Science Direct and Web of Science from its own fund. That is why the Web of Science and Scopus is being subscribed by the Implementation Center, Gandhinagar. It is a autonomous institution under Ministry of Human Resources and Development and works under the direction of the UGC. And they have subscribed the Science Direct as well as the Web of Science in centrally, and they have given access to all the Indian universities and the Institute of Higher Education and Research in the country in a consortium mode, so that they have purchased in the centrally, and they had given access to the universities through their network facilities and through a consortia. That is why the concerned universities who belongs to under the umbrella of the UGC, they can get access to the Science Direct and Web of Science. But the researchers in the colleges and other institutions other than universities, they have no other way out other than moving to the nearest universities where the access to the Science Direct as well as the Web of Science is available. But in the colleges, there are some facilities are given. The NLIS, you might be familiar with the NLIS, and I am sure your college librarians have given you introduction to the NLIS databases, NLIS journals. There are a huge number of journals available in NLIS, as well as the ebooks are also available. You may avail the facility of NLIS also. Still, let me confine to our discussion on the Web of Science and Scopus, which are available in the universities through consortium mode being given by the Implementation Center. And if the required literature are required, you may make a point to visit to the nearest universities, and I am sure the nearest universities, so that you can search the databases and you may get access, you may download, you may take printouts, and whatever required, you may get access to get yourself associated with the most relevant works in your research domain. And as I have already said, the Scopus also have a very excellent feature of analysis and visualization of the search results. After searching the databases, you may get access to the hundreds and thousands of literature, and you may sharpen the search strategy, or you may confine to the search strategy by applying to the advanced search features that I have already mentioned, by applying the Boolean search algebra and or not, and some filtering mechanisms and the different relevancy parameters, so that you can confine to a set of the literature which exactly meet your interest. So let me move to the certain bibliometric indicators which we should have some understanding while making our search relevant, while making our search a very specific one, so that it meets my interest area. And out of the hundreds of literature, as I have already mentioned, that there's a different parameters of the quality, So high quality research, highly acclaimed research exactly meet our research interest to a higher extent in comparison to the relatively less feasible research less weighted research in my respective field. That is some metrics are there. That means the highly active research have a very high impact, and those who are mediocre, they have mediocre impact, mediocre index, and those who are of poor quality of research, and those have the third category or fourth quality, fourth category of the impacts. That impact I am going to refer that is, if you publish a research work, if it is a very high quality research work, that will be visible to the world community, and it will be read by higher number of people. And if they read higher number of people, and if they give endorsement to research work, that means that will generate some kind of citation. So that means your research work will be referred to the subsequent research that is carried out by the fellow researchers in the subsequent time. That means if your research work is of high quality, definitely that will be read by higher number of people, that will be referred to the subsequent research work published by the research community in the respective disciplines, and that will generate higher number of citations. That means one of the basic metrics of the analyzing the research work of a high quality is the number of citations received. So based on the number of citations received, that means if your research work of high quality, a given research work of high quality, that will be read by higher number of people, and they will get its relevance to the respective field, and definitely they will cite, they will give a reference to a given research work in the subsequent research publications that is being published in the same subject or same discourse. That means the highly relevancy means the highly impact. Highly impact means the good number of people, higher number of people have read it, higher number of people have endorsed it as a very relevant work in the respective subjects. And being a researcher, our main concern literature have been published recently that has been read by higher number of people. That means they have a higher amount of relevancy in the given subjects. So our prime interest is goes to the find out to read to those literature who have a higher impact. That means those have a higher citation. That means all the citations are reflected in the different metrics. That is the context of the bibliometric indicators. That means the higher impact research are having higher indicators, and mediocre literature have mediocre impact, and so on and so forth. So one of the basic measures to measure the impact of the research, that is the most relevant works, is the impact factor of the journals. So this is the impact factor of the journals. So no mathematical expression of the impact factor, that means what is the impact that is the publish of a journal. It is measured in the level of the journals, not at the article level. Of course, there are some metrics which are measured at the article level, which are the articles out of the hundreds of articles published in a given subject. There are certain metrics, but let me first introduce you the journals, which are the most impact journals, most high impact journals in the given subject. So it is mathematically expressed as a C1 plus C2 by S1 plus S2. And C1 plus C2 means the number of citations received in the previous 2 years by the S1 source item as well as the S2 source items. Previous 2 works metrics. How many citations has been received by the number of articles published in the same journal in previous 2 years. That is the impact. That means in a given journal, if the articles published in a given journal have received higher citations, we may say that that journal has been read by wide community of researchers, and that is indexed by wide community of researchers, that is referred by wide community of researchers. That means those journals, out of hundreds of journals in a given subject, we can find out the most influential and most qualitative journals in my subject. That is a first step to go to the selection of the journals out of the hundreds of journals in one subject, one area of interest. So this is the impact. It is a mathematical expression. Simply, it is a number of citations received, number of citations, that is the articles published in the journal in the previous 2 years, how many times it is being cited by the fellow researchers in the subsequent 2 years. It is a 2-year window, 2-year period is taken to calculate the impact factor of the journals. And you are most familiar with the recent guidelines that is being published by the 18th regulation of the UGC. There are certain scores are given to the journals having more than 1 impact factor, more than 2 impact factor, more than 5 impact factor. All these things are there, and I am sure you have already gone through the UGC 18 regulation. They have sensed certain parameters in comparison to the previous regulation, that is 2007 and 2010 regulation. Now they have given some very stringent parameters to publish the research works in the high impact journals. That is the impact matters. That is, if we publish our research work in which quality of journals, publishing the research work in all kinds of journals does not accumulate the same weightage to our research works. That is why our first target goes to publish our research work in the high impact journals. That means those are read by higher community of researchers, those are cited by higher number of times, and that have a very high impact factor. So this is the context of the journal impact factor. I'm giving a simple example. Say, for example, number of source items published in the journal J in the year 2018 is 35, and number of source items published in the journal J in any journal J in the year 2018 is 40 times. And again, out of the published articles, the number of citations received in the year 1 is 45, and number of citations received by the source item published in the 2019, the subsequent year, is 50. So by dividing the 35 plus 40 divided by 45 plus 50, that is a 45 plus 50, 45 and 50 are the number of the source items published, that is the number of articles published or number of research paper published, and 35 plus 40 are the number of citations received out of this published literature, and we may find that 1.267. Here you may say that 35 plus 50 is, if it is higher, we might definitely go for higher impact. That means the out of the published literature, if the literature have received higher citations, that means those journals will be accumulated for higher impact factor. That means those are the most feasible and most read research works in a given discipline. That is why we should target to go for the higher impact journals, and we should go for finding the higher impact journals in one's discipline. So this is the features. This is the unit only, simple unit, and it is published up to 3 decimal, and its value ranges from 0 to 50. There are some journals which are having very high impact factors particularly in the chemistry, in engineering, in medical science, so on and so forth. They go up to 45 to 48, up to that extent. Impact factor is also visible, but there are certain journals which are enjoying 0 point something, 0 point something, 1, 2, like that. But it is again domain specific. And as I have already discussed, that there are certain subjects who have a very wide community of researchers, very wide community of studies and research are there. That is why there are very high probability of getting very high impact. That means more and more people who read the journals, more and more high probability is there to increase the number of citations. This is the context. It does not mean that in certain subjects there are very less number of journals, less number of community of researchers. That is why they are confined to a specific, very small range of the impact factors. And this is the context. So to overcome these problems of the disparity of the wide community of researchers, wide community of the journals, wide community of the universities and colleges, where the subject is being taught, that is why all those subjects will be enjoying very high impact factors. And there are certain subjects who have a very comparatively larger number of research community, and this subject is being taught in a relatively less number of universities, less number of colleges. Maybe that subject is a very newly developed subjects, or some other reasons are there, other factors are there. Those subjects enjoy very less. They are confined to a very small range of the impact factors. That disparity is there. So in order to avoid this disparity, some other metrics are coming into the context. The normalized impact factor. So this is the normalized impact factor. So how we can normalize? So mathematically, we can normalize by multiplying the impact factor, by dividing the impact factor by highest impact factor available in the field or available in the subjects, and multiply it to the 10. Multiply it by 10. So that we can normalize. So here I am giving an example of certain journals which are, journal A is 0.50 high impact factor, and journal B has 1.5 and high impact factor. By dividing the highest impact factor to the impact factor in context, we may come to the normalization. You see, these the two journals are two areas are coming at the 0.50 and 0.50. That means this is the context where you can normalize the impact factor. That means it is again a domain specific, and again it is a subject specific. So while measuring the impact factor of a subject, impact factor of a journal in a given subjects, we may go for normalization to avoid this disparity of the bigger subjects and the smaller subjects. This way, all these calculations are done to normalize the credit of a research publication, research works that is published in a given journal. So these are the features. This is the 0 to 10 is there. We may multiply it by 0.9. It is again database specific. Again, it is subject specific also. As I have already discussed, that some databases are having wide coverage of the journals. That is why there is a high probability of increasing the impact, and some databases are having less number of coverages in their databases. That is why there is a problem of the calculation of the impact factor to a meager extent. That is the problem. So we have to go for normalization. So this is a comparison journals. We have to go for comparison, as I have already discussed. This is a subject specific, and comparison research output. So of a researcher of the different organizations or different subjects. So if you simply want to compare the research profile of a researcher in chemistry with a research profile of a people in history or economics or education, so on and so forth, or as I already mentioned, there are newly developed subjects in nanotechnology, bioengineering, so on and so forth. We have to definitely go for normalization. Simply by looking at the figure, there is a 10 or 2, we cannot say that 10 is higher than 2 or like that. We have to go for normalization. Otherwise, our very assumption and very basic notion of comparing the research profile of two researchers from different discipline will be erroneous. To avoid this problem, the normalized impact factor has been introduced. These are the certain limitations. It is a journal specific. Again, I have already discussed the normalized impact factor is mostly calculated based on the journals. And again, it is a database specific. Again, database specific means based on the coverage of the journals, the impact factors are covered. All citations are given same way. If a researcher has received one citation, and that is one, and in whichever journal he has received, it does not matter. And which of the databases the journal is covered, it does not matter. Once a research work has received cited by one person, that will be calculated at 1, and irrespective of the journal in which it is cited, irrespective of the databases in which it is subjects. Again, this notion has also been criticized by certain recent research works, and weighted citation impact, all these things are coming up. But I don't think that I should go to the details of these parameters, because that will invite a significant understanding of the basics of the different metrics, different algorithms that is being applied to calculate the weighted impact factor, and I am skipping all these things. So H index is another metrics, and you will find while searching a databases either in the Scopus as well as the Web of Science. That is one of the metrics that is most frequently used in both the databases. That is the H index. So this is simply a matrix. If n number of publications of a researcher have received n each or more citation, then H index of the researcher is n, while other papers, that is the total number of paper NP minus H, has received less than H citation. That means H index is the, if n number, say here 6 number of papers of the researcher have received 6H or more citation, that is the 8 is more than 6, 2 more than 6, that is his H index will be 6. All other papers have received, this 5 paper has received 10 citation, 4 paper has received 30 citations, again 7 paper has received 4 citation, 8 paper has received citation, that will not be counted. How many papers has received? How many? This n, 6. 6 number of papers has received 6 each or more citation. That is why his H index will be confined to 6 only. 6 is this, 8 is 2 more than 6. That is why it is called the H index. There is another matrix so that how consistently, during a given period of assessment, during a given period of analysis, how consistently the research works of a given researcher has been cited in the databases. That will give a clear picture to find the authors, which authors' works are most acclaimed works in my discipline. And if the high index, H index articles we can find out, we can select, definitely we do not miss all those authors which have a very high impact. That means they have very influential in the particular field in the recent time. So we should go for the high H index works in a given subject or given disciplines once the search is given in the databases, so that we may find the most influential authors in the subject, so that we may confine to, we may go through all the research works that is high impact and the high impact of those authors which have recently been published. That is the relevancy of H index. So we should go for the high authors. This is author level matrix to find out the most influential authors in the given subject that they have published the most relevant works, most highly read works, most highly cited works in the given subjects in my subject or in a micro subject. That is why we should go for the high H index works that for filtering the research works of one's relevance area of interest. Another matrix is the I10 index. This is simply if the 10 number of works have cited 10 each or more times, then the I10 index is 1. That means here you will find that 10 number of works have cited 10 times or more. That is the 2 works has been cited 2 times or more. That is this I10 index is 2. All other works are having less number of citations, it is not coming to 10. 10 number of research works has been cited 2 times or more. That is the I10 index is 10. That is another matrix to find out the most relevant works out of the hundreds or thousands of research works that is more relevant in my given subject. So we should keep into mind while filtering out, while selecting the most relevant works in one's subject. Another is the Z index. This is a H index has been received some kind of criticism because some of the research works which have the out of the total window of the research publications of a given research workers, some of the research works have been received very high impact, and some of the research works may be received relatively less number of citations. That is why the Z index was developed. Z index was proposed to calculate the, to avoid the disparity. That is why Z square citation. If the Z square citation means total number of citations, if received, say here, a Z index of 20 means that the academic, a given researcher has published at least 20 articles that combined have received at least 400 citations, that is 20 square. This square number of citations. The total citation is accumulated out of the 20 publications. That means the high Z index means the highly acclaimed and highly influential researchers, and less number of Z index means relatively less influential and less impact works. That is why based on the Z index also we can find out the most relevant works in one's field. That is the high Z index means highly influential works, and less means less number of influential works. So all these metrics have to be looked into while selecting the most relevant works in one's discipline, and we can confine our literature review to that the most influential and most relevant works in the recent times. This is a calculation of the Z index. I have already discussed. I am not going to the details of the calculation of the Z index. There are total number of Z index is the how many papers have received. Total Z square means if a square the value of the Z, if I find the total number of citations, that is the Z square. That is I have already discussed. If 20 is the Z index, that means 20 square means 400 research works is the total number of has sharing the total impact. Only 20 works of the out of the total works have accumulated to the total citation that is being received by the researcher over the whole window of his research profile. So let me introduce another matrix, the SCImago Journal of Research. The context of SCImago Journal of Research is that is a matrix that is covered in the Scopus only, that is not available in Web of Science. So it is a very algorithm-based matrix. So it cannot be calculated manually by taking pen and paper. That is automatically generated by the respective databases, that is the Scopus databases. They take into consideration of all the research works that is published in the same subjects, irrespective of the journal, in all the journals that is published in that is covered in the journal databases, and that is generated automatically. Those based on the SCImago Journal of Research, and it is algorithm based and it is incremental. That means it's a particular interval, say weekly interval, or a search algorithm passes through all the journals, and they calculate all the citations that is received by all the journals or during the given period, say 10 years period or 20 years period, and they generate the SJR, SCImago Journal of Research, SCImago Journal of Journal Ranking Algorithm, and they give a matrix, and that is automatically reflected in the databases. They take into consideration all the citations that is being received by all the research papers published by all the research works, research articles that is published recently in all the journals that is covered in the databases against a particular journal. That is the based on the SJR, we can also rank higher. SJR means higher ranked journals, and less means less ranked journals. Based on also SJR, we can select the most influential, most relevant works in a given subject. So let me come to the second part of the presentation. So we have to build a ladder. How we can build our research ladder? How we can initiate our research works by taking the advantage of these matrices. So we have to first prepare research synopsis or research hypothesis. Based on the preparation of the research synopsis, as you are aware of the fact that a synopsis will cover the hypothesis part also. Based on the hypothesis, again, it invites the extensive literature review. Extensive literature search is one's interested area of the research, and we have to prepare a synopsis. While preparing the synopsis, we have to definitely take into consideration of the literature review, and we have to carry out extensive literature survey. So as I have already discussed, the ENLIST is another very important source for college teachers and researchers in the colleges, and it is InfoNet that is covered by, as I have already mentioned, the InfoNet Center is giving the consortia, is InfoNet Consortia. InfoNet Consortia is giving has subscribed the Scopus as Web of Science databases in centrally, and they have given access to all the Indian universities and some other institutes of higher research and studies in the country. And of course, we may take help of the Google Scholar also. Google Scholar also another very robust platform, so which to which all the literature, recent literature published in different databases and different journals, including subscribed journals and the open access journals. All these are covered in Google Scholar. They give a indexing. They give a indexing, different types of indexing parameter study by subject indexing, by author indexing, by journal indexing. Again, and if you visit to the Google Scholar search platform, you may search the different literature in out of a very huge amount of literature. So then you can find out the relevant literature in one's domain. This is a free of cost. You need not to pay for Google Scholar. This is a free platform, and you may take the help of the Google Scholar also. And another platform is the ResearchGate. ResearchGate also free of cost. You may of course have to register for ResearchGate. You can create your own ID and password. And then you can submit also your recent publications in the ResearchGate also, so that your research works get visibility for the wide community of the researchers in your discipline. And you may search the ResearchGate for finding out the recent works that is being published in your relevant field. So ENLIST, InfoNet is covering the Scopus and Web of Science, Google Scholar, and ResearchGate. These are the most widely used platforms for carrying out the literature survey. So open access journals are opening a very wide possibility to getting access to the scholarly research. I am sure you are very much accustomed to the open access journals, and most frequently you are using it. The directory open access journals are there. You may find out the different directories in the USA based on the different subject categorizations there. You may get access to the literature which are being indexed and being covered by the open access platforms in the directory open access journals. Open access books are also there, the books, and there are some Gutenberg projects, so on and so forth. Different open access platforms are there through which you may carry out your research work. But I must say that apart from the Web of Science and Google Scholar, you should have a habit of visiting the open access journals. Why I'm saying like this? Because there is an open access movement has been promoted in the all over the world. The notion is that journals and scholarly literature should be made open. Journals and scholarly literature should be made open to the scholarly community, and they should be made accessible to free of cost. Those who actually wants to read it, those who actually wants to use it. And till 1990s, the movement was started in the late 1990s, and at the time it was in such a context was that there are so many leading databases were developing. They were accumulating, they were aggregating so many different journals from all over the world, and they started indexing, they started aggregating all these journals, and they started marketing it. There was a question was that if a research organization, say university or any research organization, those are mostly funded by public fund, and again, public fund means the taxpayers' money. If the taxpayers' money is being invested to carry out a research work in a university or a research organization, and after carrying out the research work, certain research findings are being published in the form of the journal article published in a journal, those are again costly. We have to pay for that. Say for you and me as a taxpayer, we have already paid to build the infrastructure, to build the required infrastructure, to carry out the research, to pay the salary and parks and so on and so forth, to carry out the research work, and the output of the research work is the research paper published in a given journal. Why should I pay again to get access to the research results? That was the question, that is the notion. And that all the research community and the world community and the scholarly community agreed upon to the proposition that research works should be made public and it should be free of cost to those who actually want to get access, because people have already paid to carry out the research work, and the output of the research work is a research paper. Why people should be made again compulsion to pay to get access to the research work? And gradually, by India is one of the major contributors to the open access movement, and good number of research works, good number of journals published by the reputed organizations, say Indian Institute of ISC, Indian Institute of Science, that again you may say DST, different laboratories of DST, Department of Science and Technology, CSR laboratories, and Department of Atomic Research, so on and so forth. They have published good number of high quality research works, and they have started publishing their research work in free domain and free platform. That is why, that is the background. I just want to introduce you that the open access journals means, it does not mean the low quality journals. It does not at all means the low quality journals in comparison to those available in Web of Science and Scopus. But due to this open access movement that is proliferated all over the world, the research organizations, that is publicly funded research organizations, have a compulsion, have agreed to the proposition that research journals, scholarly journals should be made access open, free of cost to the scholarly community, and that should be made available to the, I'm taking a break, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm continuing. Okay, I'm continuing. So we should have a point to have a visit to the different open access journals that is available, that is being aggregated by the directory open access journals. That is free of cost. You need not to pay any, and you can get access to the very having some should not get the access
Hazarika sir, your audio is breaking.
Audio.
Yes, yes, now it's clear.
Is it okay?
Yes,
Is it okay now?
yes, yes.
So one of the problems is that different databases cover a different number of journals, and that is distributed in the different platforms. So that is a time consuming to move from one database to another database and keep on moving from different databases in in the platform so that it links to different data across the countries, across the different country objects that gives the raw platform that will access to the scholars in singles, and it will the search query will go to the database, compile and results and apply the results to the site so that we make it accept in a single form. And that is the background of the academic search engine, so that it can aggregate the different databases distributed all over the
Hazarika sir.
is it now okay?
Yes.
So paperpile.com z academics, you may see this. Of course I shall share the PPT to the participants. Academic search engines are the very robust platform now mostly used by the academic community to get a single window platform to carry out the search in the different databases so that they can save their time, and at the same time they can cover their search, to the wide number of heterogeneous databases and a single platform. So you may take the help of the academic search engines also. So let me go to the time is okay. Gauri?
Yes, time
Hello?
it's sir, it's now 10 minutes more, I think.
10 minutes more. Okay. Let me try to cover.
You can share the screen, sir.
Is it now not sharing?
No.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's coming.
So let me have a brief discussion on the research design, because most of the success of a research work mostly depend upon our comprehensiveness in the research design. So how to make a very good research design? Let me have a discussion. So sample design is the most first and foremost part of designing a research, and I am trying to cover this perspective because, as I have already discussed, that apart from carrying out the research in our own discipline or own area of interest, we have a very mundane responsibility to help the students, help the research scholars to carry out a good quality research work. So we have to help them also, apart from carrying out our own works of interest. So we have to start from the research sample design. Particularly, I am I'm trying to cover the discussion on the social science only. And because the research design perspective in the pure science and applied science are something different, they have some experimental design is also there. I am not trying to go to the experimental design, but let me confine within the research design within the context of the social science and humanities. So sample design is the most important part. What are the sample size? What are the parameters of the sample in which I am trying to I have intended to carry out the research work. So what is the sample population or the sample survey population? And the sample population have to be carried out very carefully. And for that, all the different methods are there for sample designing. We have to have a very good understanding of the very statistical procedures of sample designing. And experimental design is the particularly in the domain of the science and technology and applied sciences, so on and so forth. Then we have to go for data analysis part. And data analysis again invites the understanding of the different parameters of the statistical data analysis and the central tendency, the dispersion, mean, median, mode, and of course the measure of dispersion, the standard deviation, so on and so forth. Regression analysis, so on and so forth. We have to have an understanding of the different data analysis parameters. And I must say, while to carry out a good quality research in the contemporary domain and to get access, get published in a good quality journal, we have to follow the whole domain of the research design from the very beginning to the end. Otherwise, very high competition, as you were aware of that, very high competition of getting published in our research works in the good quality journal. And if we cannot publish our research work in a good quality journal, there are very less chances to get our research work credited in proper to generate the proper credit, so that we may claim that our research work is a very good quality research. That is why from the very beginning to the end, we have to be very careful, so that we do not commit any mistake in the sample design. Because if you commit some mistake in the sample design of the survey population or survey design, definitely that will be reflected in the data analysis, and that will be reflected in the findings and the conclusion. And all these are very significant issues and very relevant issues while taking out the research works. We have to be very careful. We have to study it in depth for the different methods of data analysis, and ultimately the report writing, submit, and attend the review quest. Those who have already published the good quality research work, they are aware of the fact that what is the difficult task to attend to the reviewers quest. What are the different complex questions the research reviewers generally put forward to a researcher, and most of the time we have to redesign. We have to redesign means it is not possible to redesign a research work once it is completed, but we may do some kind of works in the data analysis part, and we may try to generate some other findings based on the objective set for the research by applying some other statistical parameters. And for that, we have to develop our know-how of any statistical softwares, so that we can properly carry out our data analysis part, and we can generally go for the concrete findings and the concrete conclusions. That is the most important part. We have to teach our research scholars, we have to teach our students, so that from the college level, particularly I am focusing on the college level, because the undergraduate students are the most fertile group, so that if we can inculcate the notion of the research at the college level, definitely we may expect a very good bunch of the researchers that when they will be when they will be pursuing their PG programs as well as the postgraduate and the research projects leading to MPhil, PhD, so on and so forth. So development of the basic understanding of the research design, sample design, survey population design, and the data analysis and the report writing is the most important part, I think, that needs to be inculcated, that needs to be introduced basic at the college level. Otherwise they find a very complex. Well, directly they move to the research design, particularly in the PG level as well as the MPhil and PhD level. So we as a teacher in colleges and universities, more particularly in the colleges, I think that we have a very close responsibility, very affinity. We cannot absolve to introduce the basics of the research design, basic of the research right at the college level, at the undergraduate level. That is why I have giving a stress on this work, on this area, so that we can contribute significantly, so that a good bunch of the researchers come out right at the college level. And getting visible, as I have discussed, the Google Scholar is the one of the platform. We can submit the links of the published works in the Google Scholar in our own ID. We have to create one ID in the Google Scholar, and we can give the links of the journals and links of the proceedings wherever my research work has been published. We can give a link so that it gives a added feature, so that my research works will get visibility. Nowadays, Facebook also playing a very significant role. You may have no objection, no obligation that you can share the links of the published research work in the Facebook page of your own Facebook page. But there are certain issues which are covered under Copyright Act. You are not supposed to publish the whole paper in your Facebook or your other platforms, because there are some copyright issues are there. But if it is published in an open domain, say for example, directly open access journals, then you can publish, there is no objection. But if you publish your research work in a proprietary journal, which are subscription mode is there, or the price tag is associated, you are not supposed to publish the whole paper in your personal profile. Maybe it is a Google Scholar or in a Facebook. Of course, you can give a link of the URL of the research work where your article and research has been published, and you may expect the greater visibility. Greater visibility means there is a higher chances of getting your work cited, and that means more and more citation means more and more reflection of the citation in your impact. That is the journal impact factor will be increased, your personal impact will be increased, your H index will be increased, and your Z index will be increased. That is why I personally feel that once a research work is published, we should try to have a point to give a link of the research work and the URL in our own Google Scholar profile as well as a Facebook profile. And another platform is the ResearchGate. The same parameters there. In ResearchGate also, we can submit the links of the research work published, and we may expect to the getting more visibility. And of course, why I'm saying all these things is there are some other metrics are there which are known as the alternative metrics. And alternative metrics means, and there's so far what we have discussed in Google Scholar and Web of Science, those are proprietary databases. But apart from this, there are so many people are there, so many platforms are there where the deliberation and the assessment of the quality of the research work are being reflected in the form of the like, or in the form of the sharing of links. As we are very familiar with the Facebook, the more and more sharing of the links means more and more credit to your post, and more like means the more and more credit, more and more people have liked your work, like your comment. Same is the case of getting your research work visible. That is why alternative metrics covers all this hit. Hit means how many times it is being liked, how many people has liked, how many people have shared. All these are automatic algorithms are there. There is a site altmetrics.org. You may go to that altmetrics.org, where all the citations, all the like or sharing points, sharing scores of a research work or a post, maybe a research work. Let us say research work, how many times it is liked, how many times it is downloaded, how many times it is viewed, or how many times it is shared by other people. All these are taken into consideration while measuring the impact factor. That is the alternative metrics. That is also now being covered in the calculation of the impact of a research work. And ResearchGate is the platform where same facility you may get. So academy.edu is another platform. You may create your own ID. Of course, you may carry out your search also in academia.edu. There are some people who publish their links of the research works in the academia.edu. Of course, I must say one thing in ResearchGate. There is one very unique feature. Nowadays, the research works are going to be collaborative in nature. Very highly collaborative research are now being published. That means that it is not all time it is expected that a given research work, while carrying out the research work, he or she may feel that some expertise, some other people should also get associated in my research work, so that this part of say that part or say that part, any part of the research work may need some expertise of other people. Say for example, you are carrying out a research work in economics, you may feel in a particular context that some people having background of the computer knowledge, computer programming should be involved to carry out the computation part of the research work. Or you may think that while carrying out the research work in chemistry, you may feel that one person from physics or say from some mechanics or from computer science you want to consult to complete your research work. In that context, you may be searching for a collaboration of research or your co-workers, co-researchers. Here the ResearchGate is giving such a platform where you can find the collaboration, where you can find the other researchers who are actually carrying out the same kind of research that is you are conducting. And you may post the synopsis of your research, whatever you have done till now, whatever you have done, you may submit it, you may search for collaborator. Definitely, I am sure that someone who are actually facing that same problem, who are actually carrying out the almost similar kind of problem, he will communicate with you that yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, I am interested to collaborate the research. I am also carrying out the same kind of research. I am facing these master problems, and you may collaborate with him or her and carry out a very good quality research work. And if the probability of the carrying out the research work and the completion becomes feasible, becomes easier, as well as the quality of the research work gets increased. This way, you may increase the chances of publishing a research work in the good quality journal and good quality index, good quality score, good impact you may expect. That is why I very strongly suggest to create your research ID in ResearchGate and publish the submit the research proposal, submit the research synopsis and the developments till now what you have done, and you may submit the opinion and the comments from the other researchers in your field. Definitely, I am sure you will get someone will respond to your post, someone will respond to your post, and definitely they will express their eagerness, willingness to collaborate with you. This is another platform. This is very interesting and very effective platform. You may avail the facility also. So ORCID ID is another ID. You may be familiar that once your research work is published, there is a certain in certain context, it comes to the context that another person having the same name, having published the published the articles. Say for example, your name is A and B or C, your middle name may be there. There may be same person having the same name, but the database finds is very problem that sometimes erroneously the research credits goes to some other person having the same name. Instead of going to crediting to you, it goes to the other person. Of course, this is a algorithm based. So to avoid this problem, you may create your unique ID, researcher ID, creating your ORCID ID in the orcid.org site, and all your research work will be tagged to your ID so that it does not get any kinds of duplication. To avoid the chances of duplication, you should create your ORCID ID so that all the credit accumulated to your research works actually comes to you, other than it is going to the other person having the same name or similar name in the other field or your same field. That is why it is fairly advisable to create your ORCID ID, and while taking the advantages of the different matrices, different indexes that is mostly reflected in the quality of your research work. So personal blog is another field. You may publish your research work through your personal blog. You may publish it, you may share it, you may get it visible, you may get it indexed, and that definitely personal blogs are very instrumental to getting your research works visible to the other people in the same community. Institutional repository is another field, and you may take the help of the institutional repository. That is also database that is being created in your colleges or your university, where the research publications of the faculty members or the other research community that is being published in the different journals and different scholarly channels that is being indexed, that is being stored in the institutional repository, and that is made accessible to the World Wide Web, so that any person can make research of a given institution. And this way also you may increase the chances of your visibility, chances of getting indexed, and of course chances of getting the high credit to your research works that is you have published. Social media, yes, I have already discussed that you may take the social media help of, because now the alternative metrics are taking very heavily to the social media likes, comments, shares, so on and so forth. So we have to take the advantage of the social media as well. So this is all about my discussion and presentation. So thank you all.
Sir, thank you for your presentation. So now I request the participants to interact with our speaker, sir, if they have any query on this. It's open for the participants.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Sir, my name is Suman Soika. I'm from Pragjotis College. Sir, my question is that suppose one of my article during the time of publication, it was in the UGC list. But now, as this list keeps changing, so now it is not, that journal is not in the UGC care list. The problem is that when we college research often asked to fill forms about by NAC also, by articles which is published only in UGC care list. Sir, as my article, my journal is not now in the UGC care list, so what I have to consider? But during the time of publication, it was there. Yeah, so now means, sir, whether I have to fill the form means it is in the UGC care, it was in the UGC care list, or what I have to do means, sir.
I got the problem. This is a very common problem our teachers and the research community face, particularly yes, while submitting the resume yes, for any post or appearing in the interview. So what we can do at the time of appearing our research works in a particular care journal, we should yes, take a note of the date of the publication, and we can submit it. So we should not miss that date, because care protocol is a very dynamic protocol. Yes, they continuously keep on scrutinizing the journals based on certain stringent parameters, and most of the time even some very old journals are being, I have seen, excluded from the care list, and again it is included. Again it is included based on satisfaction of certain parameters, and yes, it is a very common problem we are facing. So what we can do, we can take a note of the date in which the journal is appearing in the care list, and we can submit it. Let them verify in the care database. If they have some objection, they have some questions, let them verify. And I think this way we can resolve the problem.
Okay, sir, I have one more question. Sir, some journals, what we have seen that suppose we are doing PhD, our PhD time is from 3 years to 5 years we have to submit. But some journals, what we have seen, whenever we submit one article, they used to take means a lot more time, means 1.5 years to tell you whether it is accepted or not. And after 1.5 years after submitting, they used to give us one mail that it is been rejected. Sir, that is, they have taken a lot of time, and I think that is a totally time loss for our research also. Sir, what to do with that means, sir?
This is again a very common problem. We have to wait unending time, 6 yes, months. Sometimes it happens that our review query is negative. Yes, sir. That your article has been rejected by our reviewer team, and they may or may not give the reasons of rejection. Sometimes they does not give the reasons of rejection also. So already I have lost 6 months or 8 months, so on and so forth. So first thing is that we should, this is common in the mediocre and lower level journals, as my observation goes. But the high quality journals, they have a very stringent parameters of the peer review process. they carry out peer review process in a very stipulated time, and all these are declared in their guidelines for authors and the guidelines of the review. That is, you may see in the databases of the respective journals. I am talking about the high quality journals. So first, our target should go to the high quality journals that are indexed by the any indexing databases. They are there. I do not think that such types of inordinate delay problem is there. Within a 1 week or hardly in a fortnight, you may get a comment from the editor that your research work has been received and that has been sent to the reviewer. You may keep on track of the review panel or review window. There's a review window. You might be familiar with that. You may keep a track of the status of the review. You may also the attendance of the reviewers, and sometimes the review process goes phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 also, I have observed. So you may keep a track. So first, my feeling is that you should first try to publish your research work in the high quality journals in your different discipline. And then this way you can avoid the problems. And particularly why this happens, because the mediocre level journals, they receive huge number of articles for publication. That is the problem, I think. That is why they fail to keep a proper track of the different submitters, and they fail to respond in timely. And this is not happening in the high quality journals. That is why my advice is that you should first try to high quality journals.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
Hello.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
Hello?
you may skip.
Yeah, please.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, madam, you can tell.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. And at the same time, it was very informative. Sir, actually, I have a few queries relating to impact factor. The formula that you have displayed relating to calculation of impact factor, there was a term mentioned about source item. So, sir, could you please explain again what does the term source item refer to?
Yeah, source item, actually, it is a comprehensive term that covers the research article published in a given journal, review articles published in a given journals, as well as the certain errata, that is certain corrections, all these things, and all the citable items. Even sometimes the letter to the editor also taken as a source items. Sometimes a letter to the editor, they may you may have observed that in certain journals, letter to the editor give very significant information about the certain miscalculation of the previous work. Generally, all this we find in the review article. And review articles are very big articles, and you may have to go for a review article of your respective discipline to a review article only. You are not supposed to get a review article in the current journals that are not generally covered the review articles. So letter to the editor, the review to the articles, and the errata, sometimes the correction to the previously published article, research article, any even sometimes short communications also published in the given journals, sometimes laboratory note also published in the given journals. All these are taken into consideration while calculating the source item. That means all citable items, they have all the articles, all the items published in the journals, we have a high probability of getting it cited. That is the source items. It is not only confined to the research articles only. All the citable items are taken as taken together, which have the high probability and probability of getting cited. That is the context of the source item.
Okay, sir. Sir, my second question is where to find out the information about the number of citations of the journal. Where do we get that information?
You will get in the Scopus on our websites. You search the article by applying your combination of searches, applying Boolean logic, go to the advanced search. You may advanced search, you may filter by author, by title, by subjects, or you may avoid the subjects by giving the Boolean logic and or not, and to avoid the homonymous terms, synonymous terms, so on and so forth. Of course, you may filter out the most relevant to the less relevant, most recent time to the less recent previous literature. And based on the H index, based on the journal impacts, you may filter it out. And the right panel, you may see the number of citations automatically appear in both the Web of Science and Scopus. This is given. Even in Google Scholar also, it is available. You may find it.
Okay, sir. And sir, my third question is, suppose I published, I got a paper published in a journal, say in the year 2018, and now 2020. If in the year 2020, I need to quote the impact factor of that journal, maybe for some interview purpose or for any purpose. Now, as you have already mentioned, that impact factor of the journal keeps on changing. So suppose in 2018 it was different, and in the year 2020 it's different. It has changed. So which impact factor will be appropriate on my part to quote? Is it
latest one? It will go on accumulating. It will never decrease.
Okay.
Latest one is your impact factor.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I'm Dhiru Varman.
Yes.
Sir, I want to know about missing citation. Sometimes someone cited my article in their articles or any books, but
That depends
this
upon data.
citation.
That is missing citation is a problem of it mostly take with the coverage of the journal. In which database your article journal has been published. That means you have published your article in the journal A, whether the journal A has been included in the database A or not. If it is included, definitely it will not be missed. But if the journal is not included in the database, that is why you might remember that while I was discussing the impact factor and other parameters, it is mostly database specific. Some databases does not cover all the journals, and some databases have very comprehensive coverage of the journals. Say, for example, you may find the number of coverage of the journals in the Web of Science is comparatively lesser than that of the coverage in the Scopus. So if you search your impact in the Web of Science, if the journal is not covered in Web of Science, definitely all the citations that is published in your journal will be missed.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. Myself, Dipanjali Halloy from Pandu College. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I want to know about in different journals. I have found different impact factor. Sometimes I found 20, more than 20. So which impact factor is authentic and it is acceptable for us, sir? So
take the highest
types
one.
Of impact factor.
Take the highest one, ma'am. Take the highest one. Suppose the particular journal, again, I have just previous query, I was giving my comment that it becomes, it depends upon the coverage of the databases. Some databases have higher coverages. That is the probability of getting more index, more citation is high. And some databases have very comparatively lesser citation. If the journal is not covered, you cannot get your article have a reflection in the impact factor in the particular database. So my submission is that you should take the databases in which your article has been calculated the highest one, either Scopus or Web of Science or Google Scholar.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, another one question, that is some journals I have found, these are UGC care listed journal and Scopus index also, but they need some price, sir, for publication. So is it authentic to take the price? They need some price. The
price tag is not only in the care list journals, it is also take with some very highly reputed and high quality journals also. Say for example, you might be aware of the NESAR journals. Some of the NESAR journals, NESAR publishing group, they ask for a certain amount. Sometimes it's 50,000 and 1 lakh also. It does not mean that all those journals are predatory journals. It does not like that. Of course, I must submit that there are some predatory journals also. It should be very careful whether it is indexed in any indexing databases or included in the care list. That is the first thing to avoid the question of predatory journals. Second thing is that sometimes the very high quality journals also ask for some certain contribution. That is, so far my knowledge goes, those journals which are actually there is a very international level marketing policies also there. Because sometimes the very high quality journals are viewed and downloaded by a very wide community of researchers. That is why, and again, there is a demand for open access journals. You will see in the Scopus and Web of Science, some of the articles of a journal, which are otherwise subscribed journals, they are giving some of the articles in open domain, that is in the open access. If the articles is to be published in the open domain, then only they have some kind of contribution from the scholars, from the author. And you have to comply to the editorial policy. There is no other way out. I have seen a good number of scholars and my friends in Gauhati University. They have very good impact publications, but they have contributed something. And it does not mean that all the journals are periodic journals, all the research works are low quality. It is not like that. Because of the publication they have a compulsion to publish a portion of the research works. Of course, there are certain policy. Not all the articles are published in the price tag, or not the articles are published in the open domain. They have certain policy. Some of the articles of the even the very highly reputed journals, they are supposed to publish in the open domain. Then they ask for certain contribution from the authors to manage their cost. That means the cost incurred in the management of the platform, management of the salary of the indexers, so on and so forth.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir. Sir, I want to know the normalization of the impact factor, that part. That is not clear.
Normalization is a matter. Suppose there are some journals, some subjects, which have a very less high number of research community that is being taught a good number of universities, good number of colleges, and already they have a very big community. Say, for example, chemistry, physics, mathematics, medicine.
I am from physics.
Yeah. Physics is a very old subject. It is there since the development of the human civilization. They have a wide community. Suppose you have published a research work, and of course they have a very good number of journals also.
Yeah.
A good number of readers also. Once an article is published in a journal of physics, you may expect that at least thousands number of researchers will see your research work. But there are subjects which are newly developed subjects, which have a comparatively less number of users community, that is being taught in comparatively less number of universities and being researched by the less number of so on and so forth. So to compare the, suppose I am from a new subject, say nanotechnology. This is a newly developed subject, and you are a person from physics. So I have published 10 publications, and you have also published 10 publications. So if we credit, one is, and your credit will be 10, my credit will be 10. But it is not like that. It is not like that. And maybe the physics journals are also enjoying high impact factors, because impact factor is mostly take with the number of citations received. Number of citations received. Again, number of citations received means higher number of people have been cited, have been used your research work, they have cited in the subsequent research works. To compare my research profile with your research profile, definitely some kind of normalization must be required. And you are aware of the normalization. By dividing the journal impact factor in which my article has been published, I have to divide the impact factor of the journal, say A, in my subject, SA, and the highest impact factor of the SA is, say, 10. SA is 10. I have to divide it by 10 and multiply it by any exponent factor of 10. Say 10 to the power 1. I have given it 10 to the power 1 also. You may multiply 10 to the power 2 also, no problem. And I have to find the impact factor of the journal where your article has been published. Say it is 2, and the highest impact factor is say 45. So your high impact is very 45. 45 is very highest. And I have not a journal where the journal is enjoying 45 or near 45. My highest impact factor is say 10. This way I have to normalize. I think you have got the point.
Yes.
I have to divide the impact factor by the highest impact factor in a given subject, then multiply it by any exponent factor of 10, and the impact factor of another subject, subject B, by the highest impact factor in that subject, then multiply it by any exponent factor of 10. Then we compare it. This is the normalization.
Thank you. Okay.
Hello.
So I want to know regarding, there are some journals which are not rated and may not be in the care list, having high NAS rating. So what do you say about those journals? If I publish in the NAS rating having 7 NAS rating, may not be in the care list.
That this is the problem. So there are sometimes certain databases also there where the journal is being indexed by the very reputed journal in the subject discipline, but not even included in the care list. My submission is that the research community in that particular subject where this question arises, they should write to the care regional center. Our care regional center is Tezpur University in our Assam and Northeastern region. You can write to the care regional center for inclusion of the journal in the care. That is one solution. Number two, while submitting your research profile, claiming the credit of your research work published in the journal, which is not covered in the care list or any databases, of course, that must be included in any databases, which are not being scanned by Web of Science or not being scanned by Scopus or not being scanned by care list. So you may mention, specifically mention. I think this way you may get the credit of your research work published in the particular journal. So first thing is that better you should write to the care regional center for inclusion of the journal in the care list if it is not included. Automatically, if it is journal is indexed in any database, you will get the credit. You'll get the credit at the time of the IQSA screening. Definitely, you'll get the screening credit.
Thank you.
So I think there is no more questions. Sir. Let us now stop the session. Okay, sir. Thank you once again, Dr. Hazarika sir, for your nice presentation. And we are glad to have you for the session.
Thank you. I shall be sharing the PPT to the Dr. Gorishankar Komaka, and all the participants will get it. And of course, there is a mandatory provision, as Gori has communicated me, to give some questions against the presentation. Definitely, very shortly, I shall be giving it to Gori, and you will get to it. And thank you very much for your patient listening and for your queries. And if any further queries are there, I am available. I shall be very happy to talk to you and carry out our very good quality research and to really lead our new researchers. Particularly, we have a very mandatory responsibility to guide our scholars, particularly not only in the universities, in the colleges also, to develop the research tempo, to develop the research spirit, which we cannot absorb. And this is one of the mandatory responsibilities we have to take care of. And I'm sure we shall take care of it at this angle also. Thank you once again. Thank you for the nice privilege. I have enjoyed talking to all the esteemed friends, colleges and university. It's a nice privilege I have enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.